I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all. Great, here we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reyes Reflection podcast. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. I know there's a lot of options out there, so I appreciate that you are considering me and you make me one of them. Don't forget to follow me on those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes. Before we dive into the episode, I want to give a moment to shout out my partners, ARAVE cards, completing sets, one card at a time. Get yourself going on your Pokemon card collection today. Jocko Fuel, clean fuel without compromise. Use promo code REYESREFLECTION for a discount. Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare, be bold, be you. Again, use that promo code REYESREFLECTION for a discount on your order. And lastly, SMACKIN sunflower seeds. Get yourself a sample pack using my exclusive link in my link tree. Now that is out of the way, it is intro time for my next guest. In this episode, we have a special guest who is a talented author and illustrator, whose books have won numerous awards and has even landed in Times Square, which we'll definitely talk about. I also heard she loves making vegan ice cream and popsicles. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if my research is correct, but nonetheless, without further ado, please welcome Regina Tranfa to the pod. Welcome.
Thank you, Nathanael. I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you so much for coming on. So I want to share a little backstory about how we met. Regina actually called me over to her booth at a local convention that we had, and she showed me a bunch of her work, and it was at that point in time that I knew that I had to interview her just because she was able to flag me over, get my attention with her captivating illustrations and the way she was just able to speak so passionately about her work. So I want to dive a little bit into that. What was the moment like for you in life where you realized that you wanted to write children's books?
So my background is in graphic design, and a lot of my conceptual thinking and illustration style, illustration introduction, that was learned in college. But it was one day when I was driving home from Boston, actually, to spend the weekend at my parents' house, the idea my dad took me to outer space, it just like popped into my head. And I was like, wow, I could really run with that. That's a really good title for a children's book. That concept has a lot that I could branch off of. So I just went home, I started brainstorming, and that was it.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York for graphic design. The school no longer exists, sadly.
Did it get bought out or?
No, it recently closed due to financial difficulties, but it's kind of going through that motion because I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of small liberal arts colleges are kind of closing. Yeah,
I've noticed that trend. So you went for graphic illustration. What were you doing prior to that?
So what I was doing was I was working at a printing press in Boston, and I was working in quality control. I did a lot of color analyzing. It was actually a pretty cool job. So what would happen was I would have a proof that the client had approved and color-wise, and what we printed, I would make sure it matched what the client had approved. So, I mean, even though I wasn't in front of a computer, it was still in my field. It was still an artistic position, but I still always kept up with my drawing skills on the side because once we were put on the computer in college, I don't know, I just kind of found it frustrating because I missed the drawing aspect of it.
So your background is in graphic design. How did that help you with the illustrations in your book? Because I know you don't have them out for us to see.
Oh, I could show you.
Yeah, pull them out. Let's see.
Right,
Let's see.
This was my book that was released last year in March of 2023. My dad took me to Dinosaur Land.
I'm glad that you pulled it out. So the visual audience, you'll see that you do a lot of visual work there that is very immersive and captivating. How did that concept become to be? Were you just doodling and you wanted to design these concepts? How did that work out for you?
Well, what happened is I start my book, got the title, and I've got the concept. Well, what is it that's going to happen in the story? And then I just brainstorm. They go on this journey. What is it that they see throughout this journey? Actually, with this one, though, I started illustrating each dinosaur in my sketchbook first. And then I figured out, I'm going to use this dinosaur in this situation with this human being, and went on that way.
So that was recent, and then My Dad Took Me to Outer Space.
Yes,
Was the previous one? Was that the one that you won awards with?
No, actually, they've both won awards. They've both won awards. This is the outer space one. But it's the dinosaur book. That is the one that landed the Times Square gig. So in the Book Fest fall 2023, it won the Science and Nature Award as well as the Bedtimes and Dream Award. And then it was second place in Children's Action Adventure and Children's Picture Books. And because of those wins, it was then chosen to be seen on the NASDAQ building December 15th. It ran 52 times throughout the day. These book covers, they rotated. And then it also got me an invitation to be a guest author at the Books That Make Us table at the Los Angeles Festival of Books, which I could not attend. But yeah, that was still pretty cool.
Completely. So you just showed off your books. Love the titles. Love the art. Is there a specific theme or message that you try to convey in your books?
Just a sense of wonder, I think, and curiosity. I'm kind of going for kind of like the Magic School Bus, where it's for both children and adults. Because even as an adult, if you sit down and read the Magic School Bus, you're still going to learn something. So I'm kind of going for that. But the space book, that's more of an early reader. So it's really more of an early reader. And there really isn't anything that happens in that book. It's just about a little girl and her dad. And they go on this adventure and they see what life is like in outer space. The words are small. But then with the dinosaur one, I really grew with my storytelling. And that's more of a story. It's very STEM-ish. What is it? Science, technology, education and math or something. I don't know. That's what my editor, she commented, like, this really fits into the STEM category.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that because it does fit into the Magic School Bus. And you're right. A lot of people who watch Magic School Bus, they can also
learn of all ages.
Correct. And I also love that you said that it's your sense of wonder, because I definitely feel like for adults, we lose that sense of wonder. I think that imagination is rampant when you're a child, and then all of a sudden as we get older, there's real life things that prevent that, of course, but we do lose that sense of wonder of just excitement, and even trying something for the first time or experiencing something for the first time. That sense of enjoyment can be lacking, I think, and I love that you're trying to push that into your books.
Good.
So that way adults, kids, families, you're sitting with your little ones, you're reading it, you're getting that excitement, they're getting that excitement. It's there for the whole family. I love that. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's transition now into your accolades, which we talked about. How has this recognition impacted your career?
The awards help because I can talk about them when I'm at my craft fairs or conventions, because it's more, it helps to buffer them up. Like also the dinosaur book, that was a finalist in the International Book Awards in the children's education category. So again, more buffering that this is educational and your child will learn, and so will you. I self-publish these books through Amazon. I did not go through a publisher. It's kind of the way to do it these days.
Can you expand on that? Why is that the route to take as an author today?
Because nobody's telling you no, so you can just do it. I mean, the space book, that one did get me a phone call and an email from a publisher, actually, because before I got my certificate from the Library of Congress saying my copyright was approved, I had gotten a phone call and an email from a publisher asking to see a copy of my manuscript with the possibility of publishing it, but I declined because I just want to take the self-publishing route. In fact, though, I think it was one of those self-publishing publishers. But anyway, I just declined because I want to do it my way.
So, so I just wasn't sure. So self-publishing just means that you're able to
have
your own creative reign.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. Wow. I mean, that does sound like the way to go in that space, because your storyboard is able to be exactly what you want it to be. You know, there can be too many cooks in the kitchen, if you know what I mean.
True.
Who are some of your influences as an author, illustrator?
I guess as an illustrator, I would say Lisa Frank. I always enjoyed her artwork as a kid. And I feel like I do have a sudden burst of color, which you can kind of see in her work. She influenced that. And then, as far as the writing, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I never really intended to get into this children's book creative avenue. It just kind of happened because I saw, this is a way for me to use my creativity. And yeah, I don't really have any children's books off the top of my head that influenced me. I mean, I know as a child I was a fan of The Beast in the Bathtub. I don't know if you remember that book.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know these ones. It was the dinosaurs, but these dinosaurs specifically would be helping you with a problem. Admittedly, I'm going to open up a little here and share some trauma. So my parents divorced when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I remember I was really sad about it, as any 8, 9-year-old would be.
Definitely.
Right. And so I remember going to my school's guidance counselor at the time, just talking about how I was upset about it. And there were a lot of things that went on, too. We also went through an extensive move where I moved an hour away from my hometown.
Hard.
Yeah. So there was a lot that was going on. But nonetheless, I remember speaking to my guidance counselor, and she gave me this book, and it was Dinosaurs with Divorce.
Oh.
And the whole baseline of it is this dinosaur, he's a kid, and he's going through how he handles seeing his mom, how his dad, and it talks about the bad, but it also talks about the good. It also talks about other internal things that could be going on. They have another book because my guidance counselor, shout out to her, she also gave me another one because during that same year, my grandfather had passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And they have another, 8 to 9 years old was rough for Nathanael, but he made it through. And but they have another one called Dinosaurs Die, When Dinosaurs Die, and it teaches about like how different religions believe in certain things and how you move on from death. Actually, hold on, let me see if I can find it for you. Hold on, I think I still have it. I was able to find it. So yeah, so the visual audience will see. It's called When Dinosaurs Die, and it says A Guide to Understanding Death. It just kind of teaches you what death is, what happens, but in a child-appropriate way, of course.
Right.
And so those were kind of like the books that I guess I read as a kid, just because this is what's going on in my life. Now I can relate it to a book aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've learned, though. A lot of children's books, there's a lot about how to deal with your emotions. You're beautiful no matter. We all have something inside of us that makes us beautiful. Lots of adventures about dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, children's books are amazing. Like, I think about The Places You'll Go. Think about that.
Okay, Dr. Seuss.
Yep. Shel Silverstein, some of his books, The Giving Tree.
Yes.
I think children's books are awesome because there is a baseline message that it goes above just.
Oh, right. It's all ages. Right.
Exactly. It goes above just, hey, I'm reading this to a 5-year-old. There's this one that's called like, I'll Always Love You or something like that. And
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's so really sad, beautiful. But so beautiful. Right. Yes. And it's about this kid who grows up with his mom, and his mom does everything, changes him, feeds him, etc. And then he's getting older, but she always says this poem to him, like, I'll always love you. And I don't want to butcher it, but it's something to that effect.
I've heard of it. I've seen it on Amazon in the bookstores, yes. But it's funny that we're talking about this, how children's books, they're really for all ages, even as an adult. It's going to hit you emotionally or you're going to learn something. But listen, I'm 40. And as an adult, I encourage you to rewatch sitcoms or cartoons like Rugrats and Rocko's Modern Life because, whoa, you will learn you'll learn something in Rugrats, but Rocko's Modern Life, whoa, that's not for kids.
I remember that show, Rocko's Modern Life. I do. It's funny you say that because I look back and I'm like, man, there's a lot of subliminal messages for adults to make it entertaining for them.
Right.
So that way they're not just bored out of their head. There's a lot of innuendos. There's a lot of undertone jokes and details. And I feel like Rocko's Modern Life is one of those shows. And Ren and Stimpy. I remember that.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, that's funny. Yeah. That's funny. You said Rugrats. Was that like your favorite show growing up?
I enjoyed it as a kid, but watch that as an adult too. You're going to learn something. It's interesting. I mean, at one
Really?
point, Susie Carmichael makes the remark to Chucky that, Chucky, your biggest issue is that you just feel sorry for yourself. And I'm like, you're right. He does. If he just got out of this pity pool, he'd be a stronger person.
I don't remember that. I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
That is insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And look at that. I mean, that's kind of real life, right? I mean, a lot of people's issues can be the fact that they're in this just cesspool of being upset and being sad all the time. And yeah, no, the pity party, right, right. I had a conversation not too long ago about something similar to that, about how, like, sometimes even though something bad is happening, I'm sure in that time when bad things were happening, it was the worst thing ever. But in 5 years, I'm like, wow, I'm thankful for that, because it taught me some mental resilience, or it taught me to power through and push through those things. Yep, I agree.
So,
yeah.
like, even, it was tough for me because in my 20s, I waitressed for 5 years because I couldn't get a job because of the recession. I wasn't expecting that, but I still always just kept up with my sketches. I didn't really start developing my illustration style towards my late 20s. I did a lot of portrait work, but I just always had that little passion project going on the side. It was snowballing, and it helped me to snowball into these children's books.
It starts from somewhere, right? It doesn't just go from A to Z.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in between. Your journey is much more than just, hey, look at me, I have a book out. You had to work on your sketches on the side. You had to work on a storyboard. You were working on your sketches as you were a waitress. Like, that's stuff that a lot of people don't see. They just see your book in Times Square and they go, look at her, she must be doing great.
Well, no,
they don't.
Yeah, and with the dinosaur job, like dinosaur book, I mean, I was working 2 jobs too at that time. Yeah, it's true.
Wow. Yeah, I want to circle back into your book being displayed on Times Square, one of the biggest cities in the world.
Yes.
Your book is just constantly being displayed. You showed a picture for the visual audience.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? What was that experience like to be able to see your book in Times Square?
It was exciting. It was also cold that day, and my mother came with me, and it took a while to get a good picture. I mean, it's also frustrating because it's just like, who's really noticing this, And the publisher that put on this, it's called Black Chateau Publishing. They're in Los Angeles. They're the ones that sponsored the Book Fest, which has this contest. They even said to us, don't really expect to get any sales out of this. It's just, a huge pat on the back that you did something great and it's worthy of being put on display. I did have to pay a fee for this too. And what I did was, if somebody was to buy my book off of Amazon, the book is $12. And then with shipping and handling, you would pay $17 and change. So what I did was I just put out a message on Facebook. I'm like, look, gang, I got this opportunity to have my book in Times Square. However, there is a fee. What I'm going to do is I will sell you my book for $20, signed with a dinosaur sticker. And that will also include shipping and handling. That way I can use that extra money to go towards this Times Square fee. So it actually paid for itself that way.
So you talked about how you got invited to the Los Angeles Festival of Books. What was it?
So yes, the Los Angeles Festival of Books held at the University of Southern California. So this publisher, Black Chateau, they would have a tent there. And I was invited to be one of the guest authors at that tent. However, I couldn't attend. But I was still excited to be recognized like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another pat on the back experience. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because New York is a hustle and bustle city. Times Square is a hustle and bustle area. And you're right, there's a lot of people that are just walking by. Yeah. But kudos to you. Thanks. Because you were in Times Square, and I think that's impressive and remarkable. I wanna ask you this. You also enjoy making vegan ice cream.
I do.
I saw that.
Yep. Vegan ice cream and gourmet popsicles. They're a second hobby of mine. It's also a food photography project too. I went through some really nasty health issues in my mid-20s, and I had to go fat and dairy free for a few years, which was not something I wanted to hear. But it was in a Rachel Ray magazine. She had these recipes for popsicles. And then I have a few cookbooks, popsicle recipe books. So yeah, that's a second hobby of mine, as well as making vegan ice cream, because I like ice cream, But man, with this vegan, I mean, you can eat more and not feel like crap afterwards. It's pretty nice.
So are you a vegan?
No, I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegan, but I am a lover of food, and I do enjoy experimenting with different vegan cuisines.
Can you share any upcoming projects, books, anything like that you're working on?
Right now I'm making a Friends of the Unicorn coloring book because unicorns are in, and I do hope to expand and have some of those on t-shirts, but it's still up in the air. I have to get it copyrighted, but life has also just gotten in the way. But no, that's what's on my drafting table now.
We're going to end with some burning questions now.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, tea. I'm not really either, but I guess tea. I'm very much into that iced matcha latte from Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. my buddy loves matcha. That's green tea. Apparently it's really good for you. I've only tried a few sips of it. Yeah.
I've recently gotten into it this summer.
Texting or talking on the phone?
I'm sorry, talking on the phone. Talking on the phone big time.
Yeah, me too.
My generation too.
Yeah, I do feel that connection because I'm the same way. I prefer picking up the phone and talking. And on top of that, you can't really misconstrued because there's tone.
Right.
Texting, it's hard. I can say to you, hope you have a great day, and I can text somebody else saying, hope you have a great day, and that person can think I'm being sardonic. You can think I'm being genuine, whereas if I'm on the phone with you, I can say, hey, Regina, I hope you have a great day. You know the tone there. I just feel like talking on the phone would eliminate a lot of these awkward interactions that people have nowadays.
Yes.
So I do feel that kindred spirit. Dine-in or takeout?
Both.
If you could collaborate with any author or illustrator, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Let me just say, one illustrator I really admire is Tara McPherson. I don't know if you know about her. But I'm also very much a fan of Ryan Higgins, his Mother Bruce books. Do you know about those?
No, I don't. Are they children's books? Or
They're children's books. I really admire his storytelling, I guess. Well, I never thought of that, but yeah.
What's your favorite book genre?
Oh, I guess graphic novels. But it's funny because as an adult, I don't really read too much as I would like to because I come home and, my free time I spend on my illustration work. But one thing I have done these past few years is I said to myself, you're going to read a book from a childhood classic that you never read. So I've been doing that for the past few years, and that's been interesting. Like I read Black Beauty 5 years ago, and I was really shocked that this is a children's classic because I really kind of found it to be just sad. I mean, it's about animal abuse, and even it takes place in England, and the way they speak is different from us. And I had to go back and reread a few paragraphs. I'm like, how is this something that a kid can comprehend?
Yeah, like I can barely comprehend it, so I don't know how a child could.
I wouldn't be able to read this as a kid in elementary school.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite book from childhood?
I just remember really liking The Beast in the Bathtub as a kid, and the Berenstain Bears. Those were big at bedtime story time.
Yeah,
I remember my mom saying, though, that she picked up parenting tips from those books. Oh, again, another children's book that an adult can learn from. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How can people find you, follow you, get your books, plug yourself in?
So right now my books are available on Amazon. Just go, you could type in Regina Tranfa or just type in My Dad Took Me to Dinosaur Land or My Dad Took Me to Outer Space, and they'll all come up. Right now my website is down. That's another project that I have in the future. But I'm sure if you just did a search of my name, you'd be able to find my website.
And to help the folks out, it's Regina, and then the last name is Tranfa.
Correct. That's correct.
Just to help the folks out. Well, Regina, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, joining me on the podcast. You are now forever a friend of the show. I've just sworn you in. You're knighted.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you, too.
Well, party animals, we are wrapped for this episode of the Reyes Reflection podcast. Follow and share the pod. Follow me on those socials at I'm Nathanael Reyes, and check out our wonderful sponsors, ARAVE Cards, Jocko Fuel, SMACKIN Sunflower Seeds, and ARAVE. And as always, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm Oprah as a dude, and I love you all.